Well, in 2010, we had unprecedented flooding in the cities of Warwick and Cranston, Rhode Island. Um, the Patuxent River overflowed its banks and dumped hundreds of thousands of gallons of water over our sewage treatment plant and our water treatment plant, and brought city government to a close and shut us down for several days. We responded immediately by obviously doing cleanup and trying to get resources in, getting all of our pump stations back online, and restoring services as quickly as possible. Since then, we've had to really look at a decision many years ago to put a sewage treatment plant at the lowest point along a river, which then, of course, causes trouble many years later. When designed, they said, oh, well, there's a 100-year storm might have an impact. Well, the 100-year storm is now a 40-year storm, and the 40-year storm is now a 20-year storm. And so what we've been doing since 2010 is really hardening our infrastructure, building levees, and protecting what we can of what's already there. And also looking at places where sewage treatment pump stations were put or other infrastructure were put that shouldn't have been, and going back and either revamping that or changing that or moving them. So it's been a combination of a whole bunch of agencies getting together and really trying to look at what happened, why it happened, and figure out a way that we can either protect us from that same type of storm hitting us again, or moving the facilities into different locations so that we don't have to have that kind of damage. We received a lot of support already from FEMA and from the Rhode Island Emergency Management Agency and our federal delegation. But what we really need to figure out is, what do we do in old neighborhoods that have been built along river or built along the coast more than 150 years ago? We're an older community, the second largest city, but one of the oldest communities in the state. It's not feasible to go in and raise every elevation of every home. It's not feasible to go in and build levees everywhere. So we need to look at other strategies so that we can figure out what best protects our residents. Because I'll tell you that when a home is flooded and a business is flooded, they don't want to engage in a theoretical, philosophical, or political discussion about what caused the water to enter their home or their business. They want to get their home or business back together, piece everything back intact, and get back into business again. And so the whole political discussion doesn't really matter to a family whose basement is filled with water. They want action. They want to know what we're going to do to not only get through this immediate crisis, but what are we going to do so that this doesn't happen to them every other year or every fifth year. And unfortunately, that's what's happened in the past. And what we're looking at now are some strategies to change that so that we're not having the same types of incidents in the same locations time and again that only devalue property, cause people to not want to live there, and actually encourage people to move elsewhere.
So, in terms of support, do you need federal money, state money? What are you looking at, and what would help you?
Federal money is always, probably the easiest answer, because when you're dealing with a state budget and a city budget, no one wants to pay for something that's not already been in a line item before. But I think the big issue is we really have to also change people's attitudes. So when we look at a zoning application or a planning application and we know it's in a flood zone, we have to stop the whole notion of just repeating the errors of 20, 30, 50, and 100 years ago. So it's a combination of the two, hardening the infrastructure that's already there, because we can't just pick up an entire city and move it somewhere else. But then we need to make smart decisions about where we're going in the future and how we're going to prepare a city that was founded in 1642. How we're going to take that city and apply today's standards to it to make it a vibrant and rich community for the future. Well, coastal flooding itself is an important issue, but when you have a group of 37 elected officials from all over the country and from both political parties here, you understand the impact that this issue has on so many different communities. And what's encouraging is it's very easy to get into a political discussion about what caused this or what didn't cause this. That really doesn't matter to the individual family or business that's affected by this. They don't want to listen to the two parties yell at one another anymore. They want to see some concrete examples of where we're moving forward. And as someone said the other day, the water gauge doesn't have a political party. And what we need to do is get out of the theoretical discussion, leave that to other people, and I think what's happened is both parties have gone to extremes on issues of climate change and coastal flooding. That's fine if they want to go spend all their time doing that. But on a local level, what we really need is answers. And so I think you see local officials banding together to say, we don't want to be part of that discussion anymore. We want to get real answers for real people. That is because we are the ones who have to deal with real lives that are affected by these kinds of storms. And so this is a very encouraging development to have a whole group of people here talking about issues and looking for solutions instead of sound bites.